Welcome to Thoroughbred 360, insights, stories and strategy from the commercial world of thoroughbred racing with your host, Bruce Slade. Welcome everyone to podcast 14, coming to you today from Sydney. Inglis Classic Sale is on. Day one just concluded Sunday night, and I thought I'd just have a quick recap of the events, performances that made a real commercial difference to our industry over the last week. On the Classic Sale, not wanting to be always positive and bubbly and upbeat, but it's genuinely a very good market out there at the moment. Great clearance rate day one. Normally that's your stickiest day. It's when the market buyers are still working it out. So you can expect that sort of clearance rate to be below 80%, but to be 80% already tonight is sensational, especially considering that these are horses that are in that tricky part of the market. They're the predominantly $30,000 to $150,000 yearlings. They've been bought up, as I say, with great clearance rates, vendors meeting the market, but also just great to see the breadth and depth of the buying market. There's no one dominant buyer. If you look through the buyer sheets, there's so many different trainers and agents and syndicators represented both here in Australia. We've got New Zealand support and, of course, Asia as well. So I expect you'll see much of the same the next 2 days. The clearance rate will hold. That lovely average of around $100,000 will hold. Median around $80,000 will hold. And just another great solid sale for the season in Australasia, and a great job by the Inglis team to get buyers in here in numbers. And as I say, I think, if anything was going to be tricky in this current market, it was going to be these, 0 to 150 horses or 0 to $100,000 horses. And it's great to see them clearing, finding homes, getting their opportunity with plenty of good operators across the industry. We're, of course, less than 2 weeks out from the Blue Diamond now. The Golden Slipper is run on the 21st of March. So forgive me, but a lot of my attention, a lot of my excitement right now centres around the two-year-old racing across the country currently. Of course, in Queensland too, the Cutest Jewel run in March as well, just around the corner. So lots of nice new horses, fresh faces, popping their hands up, popping their hooves up. Of course, this is where we uncover the next superstars of the track, and the weekend presented a whole new group of two-year-olds that sort of put their hands up, put themselves in that sort of recency bias position of like, wow, okay, that was a good win. They're a real live chance in the particular races they're going for. Kicking off, of course, in Sydney at Randwick, the Inglis Millennium, a $2 million race for English graduates. I thought we saw a really good deep field in this race. Just talking to trainers, talking to people involved, there was a few good opinions of horses in this race, and I think the form will stack up well throughout the autumn. The winner, of course, Fireball for James Harron and their Colts group with TFI and Mr. Chris Waller. He was beautifully ridden, got a lovely barrier draw, placed in the right part of the field on the tempo, etc., etc. But gosh, first up, love the way he was so professional inside runners, got himself to the outside middle of the track, and he really let down with a big sprint. No doubt a live Golden Slipper chance. He's into, I believe, $13 in the Slipper now, which puts him right amongst the favourites, and I think deservedly so. A son of Schnitzel, out of a charged forward mare as well, very believable pedigree. Of course, exactly the same cross as Essajab, who won a Golden Slipper. In fact, that Schnitzel charged forward cross. So this is a horse that deserves respect. There's a couple of horses in behind him too. Alibaba flying home, Jacaranda. Plenty of good runs in and around Fireball too. But he was a dominant winner and deserves respect going forward. A big shout out to the Gatt family. We were lucky enough to do some work for the Gatts at the May sale in 2025. the English Broodmare sale, and we actually purchased Advanced Party for the Gat family, the dam of Fireball here. So nice big pedigree update for them. The mare is in foal in the Congo, so of course he being by Snitzel. The mare currently carrying a 3/4 to Fireball, so great result for some good clients there of Kestrel Thoroughbreds. In Melbourne, we had the running of the Preludes 2 weeks out from the Blue Diamond. Of course, the Blue Diamond, when it comes from these races, generally, the Colts was won by the son of Street Boss, closer to free. A few things coming out of this race. A very strong debut by closer to free. Amazingly, 10 days ago, it was trained by a different trainer, Adrian Corboy, and owned in different ownership group. Adrian took the horse to the trials, jump outs there in Melbourne, did very well. Danny O'Brien just happened to be there, saw the horse, spoke to Adrian, learnt that he could be bought, and of course got Sean and the Ultra team in there to purchase the colt. Moved stable, straight into a Group 3, and he wins it. Marvellous play all around. Congratulations, Adrian, for the education, and then Danny for the foresight, and Ultra, and Sean, of course, of Ultra Thoroughbreds for the foresight and getting involved and getting that horse bought. Terrific work there. And I think I saw Cameron Cook there in the photo with Sean as well at this races. So congrats to Cameron as well. What do we learn from that horse? Street Boss, wow. That horse has got some of the most exciting talent in Australia right now. Remember, I think, interestingly, that this is a stallion that had stood in Victoria all the way through and done a magnificent job running about 5% stakes winners to runners from his Victorian base. Always had sort of sub-fertility, always had to work hard to get pregnancies with them, of course. On the back of Anamoe, he then moved to New South Wales to Kelvinside, Darley in 2021. That first crop are currently 3-year-olds and include the likes of Tentris and Tempted, probably the best, or one of the best 3-year-old sprinting colts and fillies in the land. And now as 2-year-olds, he's had 8 runners so far this season. He's got Calamari Ring winner stakes race and now closer to free winner stakes race. So just off his runners so far, off his New South Wales coverings on the back of Anamoe, he has escalated himself to star status. I mean, he's probably a star anyway, sire of Anamoe, but just he's doing it over and over again. As I say, his stakes winners to runners currently double what it was previously. Factors, yes, moving from Victoria to New South Wales, obviously on the back of Anamoe, probably got a better quality of mare, stood at a higher fee, etc. But very interesting. Gee whiz, he is having some run, is Street Boss. The fillies division, the Blue Diamond Prelude was won by Streisand. Really strong market support for Streisand. Good signs for her, not only in that race, but just going forward too. Obviously, her data, her time rating stacking up very well for this daughter of Magnus. She is trained by Clinton McDonald. Of course, Clinton, alongside Shane McGrath, who was involved in the selection and purchase of this filly, won the Blue Diamond just a few years ago with Hayasugi. So that combination, that Shane McGrath, Clinton McDonald combination, working so well together and doing a magnificent job. She wasn't expensive. I think she was around the 100k mark. Looks a really nice filly out of a Zoo Star mare. She was a big, bold, forward-moving yearling. And she's very much the same as a 2-year-old now, and she looks a real live chance in the Group 1 Blue Diamond in 2 weeks' time. And finally, the final stakes race for 2-year-olds we'll touch on was run in Sydney, the Darley Lonhro. It was a listed race. Again, I think the format of this race will be very good. There was a lot of trainers in this race with 2-year-olds that they have really good opinions of. Yes, they may not have been quite ready on the day, but good opinions nonetheless. Adrian Bott, Gay Waterhouse, pleasingly won the race with Agrarian Girl. What was interesting about her, I guess, is she started 30-1, but I think the confidence that Adrian Gay showed in her to scratch out of Canberra on the Friday, where she was, set to be a short price favourite to run in the stakes race, said a lot for her work during the week, for the ability this filly sort of encompasses. And I think right now, if you are running and winning, performing like that on debut in stakes races this time of year, you have to be in the slipper picture. And I think this filly very much is. Her mother was a stakes-winning 2-year-old. She is by Tasselt, I mentioned, and he has had a big month. He won the Sunlight Constellation race with Miss Free Love, his filly on debut, and the big $500,000 Magic Millions debut race in Toorak Jewel for Mr. Crooks and Paul Shaler. He's had this filly now in a stakes race. Just been a really healthy last month for Tasselt, producing really nice, promising 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds. Of course, the young stallion standing at Newgate. Of course, I was involved in her purchase at Melbourne Premier. This filly, beautiful filly. She cost $280,000, so it's not like we were the only ones that spotted her. She was a very well-liked filly by a broad bunch of people, and thankfully we were strong enough to land her. Beautiful mover, deep, clean, great muscle tone, off a great farm in Emirates Park, of course. Just so glad we had the support to land her, and now she's a stakes winner, a valuable stakes winner, heading towards more stakes races and hopefully the Group 1 Golden Slipper. Just to recap these 2-year-olds from the weekend, I think another important takeaway, and I've said this before, is it is so incredibly hard to be more precocious than your genetics. Have a look at the families, the pedigrees of these 2-year-old stakes winners on the weekend. You'll find that they are out of 2-year-old stakes winners themselves, or winning 2-year-olds, or certainly have 2-year-old form within 2 generations. So keep that in mind if you are looking for precocious youngsters at the yearling sales. On to the 3-year-olds. Let's start in Sydney. Tempted. Just wow. She went past them like they were tied to the ground in the Eskimo Prince. She is certainly one of the most exciting racehorses in Australia, one of the most exciting 3-year-olds then, of course, too. She won that race very well, the daughter of Street Boss, and now heads to the Surround Stakes, where she will take an absolute power of beating back to her own age and sex. Yeah, and should she win that Group 1, well, that'll be well deserved. She's probably the best non-Group 1 winner currently racing in Australia. Godolphin carried on their success to Melbourne in the 3-year-old ranks there to Observer, of course, the son of Gayeth. He'd won the Derby, he won the Vars last preparation, came back first up on Saturday for Kieran Maher and won the Autumn Stakes, so a Group 3 race over 1,400 metres, the first time he's won a stakes race at a mile or below. Important, because obviously he is a colt, he is a stallion prospect, he is out of a full sister to Piero, it's Estriella's family. It's a very, very strong pedigree. And now I think, the Darley team, the Godolphin team, will just be doing everything they can with Kieran Maher to program him, to accentuate his stud value. So I believe his next start will be the Australian Guineas over a mile. Makes perfect sense. Certainly adds a lot of credibility to his profile as a stallion. And if he was to win that, I would suggest that we may not see him go beyond a mile this preparation, certainly not beyond 2,000 metres, just to keep him within that sort of high value stallion commercial profile. Staying in Melbourne, I thought we saw a very, very smart filly for Capitalist. She is Alpha Sofie. She was, of course, unbeaten in Brisbane. She's now been with Peter Moody for 3 starts, unbeaten there too, winner of her last 2 stakes races. She was fresh up in the Pied de la Grande. She was dominant. Again, probably straight after the race, like many others, thought to myself, wow, she's unbeaten now still, this filly. She's winning like that, she could be a genuine Group 1 filly. As Peter Moody alluded to afterwards, which Group 1 is probably the question. This is where we get into tricky territories, particularly for fillies in their 3-year-old year past the spring. There's no set 3-year-old sprinting aim for these fillies, nowhere for them to go unless they want to take on the older horses and the males and the females, particularly through the autumn. So maybe in Oakley Plate's a place we might find that filly. I'm not sure where, but wherever she lines up, she looks like a really talented filly. For her young sire, Capitalist, who again is having a big season, big run from Hedgedare on the weekend. I think he's side 112 winners for the season, which is more than any other stallion currently in Australia. And again, a top 10 sire in Australia by earnings. Yes, wearing my Newgate hat here. I think he is, Stallion just doing a really, really strong job, particularly with sprinters, as we know. He leaves fast horses who like fast ground. Very good 2-year-olds, very good 3-year-olds, and we've seen with the likes of Hedge and Reserve Bank horses training on to Group 1 quality performances and time ratings as older horses. Over the ditch in New Zealand on the weekend, big race day at the Waikato Racing Club there. The Group 1 day, Herbie Dyke Stakes won by Legato. She is now a 4-time Group 1 winner, hadn't won for I think 12 months, so great to see that top mare by Prasia back. Of course, hugely significant in that she provided Opie Bosson with his 100th Group 1 win too. So Opie, having retired, came back, worked his backside off, got fit, race riding again, and he's knocked off that 100th, which he was chasing. Great to see. And the other Group 1 feature, the Waikato Racing Club Sprint there, that was won by First Five. He'd won the Telegraph, of course, so back-to-back Group 1s for the son of Almanzor. Almanzor, there's a name that, you know, we probably haven't been saying enough of lately, particularly coming out of Karaka. You know, this is a stallion that's doing a really good job statistically, comes up well in our data, and he's had a big couple of months, or certainly month even, since the 1st of January. He's had this horse win 2 Group 1s at the sprint level, a male. He's had a female, of course, win the Wellington Cup just a couple of weekends ago. Ariande looks like a very nice sort of Oaks filly on the way up, having placed in the Lowland Stakes. So, yeah, Almanzor, don't forget him. Very good value, very good stallion, and been able to buy them at good value at the moment too. Speaking of the New Zealand Oaks, well, it might take a lot of beating. That is Ohope wins. That's a filly by Ocean Park. Won the Group 2 David and Karen Ellis Stakes on Saturday at Waikato. Looked in an unwinnable position at the top of the straight, then sort of like worked into it, and then she sort of started running around the place a bit, and you thought she still can't win, and it wasn't until the last 100 where she really started balanced up and leveled out, and she was very dominant. Again, Yulong, they did it with Well Written. They've bought this filly before the Group 2 on Saturday, and gee whiz, they are finding them like basketballs at the moment, the team at Yulong, on the back of Well Written. I hope he wins. Looks like a proper horse in the making, and she'll take, really, it seems maybe only bad luck and maybe, you know, a bit of an experience that can see her being beaten in the New Zealand Oaks, because that was a strong field and she was very, very smart. Touching on how strong the field was, Roger James, Rob Wellwood actually had a winner of the Waikato Guineas, which was on the same day for the boys and girls, the Waikato Guineas, over a mile, and they won that race, I say, with Autumn Glory. She's by Ocean Park as well, big day Ocean Park for that son at Stallion, at Waikato Stud, but you know, they actually raced her in the Waikato Guineas to sort of get away from the strength of the David and Karen Ellis stakes. So good placement there, but just tells you how strong that group of 3-year-old fillies is in New Zealand right now. Big weekend for Ocean Park too. And that's a wrap for podcast 14 from Sydney. Thank you everyone for listening. Big thank you to all those who have reached out, especially at the sales now that we're running into people the last few months. You know, a lot of people coming up and saying they listen to the podcast and getting some value out of it. So that's great to hear. Appreciate all of that. Hope you enjoyed the show. Any questions, any comments, any other insights you'd like or that you can give me, open to them all. Have a great week, everybody.